live from a Starbucks near you, Kenneth Bryan from the Kenneth Bryan Band. Kenneth, welcome aboard.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, what did you get in line? What kind of coffee did you get? Don't tell me like mocha coffee or something like that. It's going to be hard ass.
Just, grande cold brew with nothing in it, just black coffee.
All right, that's the way it should be, right? I mean, you can't have any foo-foo coffee or anything like that. When you're a rocker like you're out there, you're jamming Summerfest, the whole works. You can't go, well, can I have a mocha coffee or something?
Yeah, that's not very me, I guess, man. I'm always just like everything straight, whatever it is. So, but yeah, thank God I woke up here a little while ago and they had a Starbucks in the bottom of the hotel here, the Hilton in Milwaukee. So it's lifesaver. But yeah, it's a really cool town. It's the first time we played Summerfest, so man, it was really been an amazing couple of days.
Now, Summerfest is the biggest live event on the planet. Summerfest used to be a very small thing. Here in Chicago, we used to have something similar, but Milwaukee has just blown up. That must have just blew your mind seeing how huge that really is. And the names, the bands that are playing there this week.
Oh, yeah. I mean, just everything was just really amazing, really well organized, and there was no... there's so many people walking around, and I didn't see anything negative. Like everybody was happy. There was no fights. Everybody was just there for the music, and it was just, you got Tom Petty, Chris Stapleton, people like that. The night we played last night, and our set was really great. We played on the Harley Davidson stage at 2 o'clock, and Steve Ferroni from Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers played drums with us, and we just really had a great show. I mean, this part of the country's always been really kind to us, and it's nice to be back here. It's nice to be back here in the summer.
Yeah, it must be tough to have someone from the Tom Petty band just join you. I don't know, just on a whim. Hey, you got a couple of minutes to play some drums?
Exactly. Steve's great, man. He's been with us for about 2 years. We met Steve actually through coffee. We met Travis, who plays guitar and rhythm guitar and harmony with me, was at the Starbucks in Studio City and ran into Steve Perry from Journey.
Oh my God! And
just totally random, like he runs into Steve Perry, and then we become friends with Steve Perry, and he introduced us to Ferroni, and Ferroni came out to see us open up for Lucinda Williams, and really loved it, and wanted to play with us, and we've been working with him ever since, man. So it's kind of...
See, there's your hookup for Steve Perry. I've been trying to get him on. We've gone back and forth a couple of times. So now I know the hookup. I just say, hey, Steve, I'm part of Kenneth's band. I play Rock Triangle. So
that's it. You're trying to get Steve Ferroni or Steve Perry on?
No, Steve Perry. Just like have him sing some background with you too. So,
man, he came when we were doing with Lions. He came. That's the new record. He came out to the studio, David Bianco's studio, and was singing harmonies and stuff, and singing like backups. He's like, man, you need to put this here. Like, it was just a trip. But I imagine he's probably a pretty hard guy to get on the air these days, man. He's just, doing his thing. So
yeah, that's understandable. I mean, he's just got a great voice. I like to see him put out some music, old music. That would be okay. Stuff that he already recorded.
But he has been working on an album for the last couple of years, and I've heard some of it. It's really good, and I hope that it gets out soon.
It will. Kind of like your new album with Lions. Tell me about that. That just got released in May, right?
It did, yeah. May 19th, we released it at the Malibu Guitar Festival out there in California. It's doing really well, man, and we recorded it at David Bianco's studio in North Hollywood. Mm-hmm. When we were on tour with Lucinda Williams. We did that for 2.5 years. She introduced me to David, and he's done her last few albums. He was Rick Rubin's engineer for a long time, like the engineer on Wildflowers, Tom Petty. But he just did an amazing job on that. We clicked really well, and we got a couple singles out right now, You're Not Mine and Fly Away, and it's doing really good, man. I'm really proud of it. It's nice to have one that's moving and out there getting some play.
Now, your music has been described as modern and southern rock. Would that be accurate?
I guess so. I mean, I'm from down south, man. I grew up in Alabama and then moved to Gainesville, Florida, home of Tom Petty there when I was about 9. And so that's my stomping grounds. I mean, I guess, any music, it's heavily influenced by, Southern roots music, just American roots music,
Mm-hmm.
In general. Like you're in Chicago, a lot of the Chicago music is heavily influenced by, the Southern thing with everybody moving up from, Mississippi, places like that, Muddy Waters and everybody. So just, how, I guess that'd be a good way to describe it. It's rock and roll from the South.
Right. So who did you want to be as a kid when you picked up the guitar the first time?
I started, I was really influenced by bluegrass and gospel and stuff like that growing up. But the first time that I ever thought, man, I really want to do that, was my dad had B.B. King, actually live at Cook County Jail, speaking of Chicago. Live at Cook County Jail, man. And he does How Blue Can You Get? And there's, he has this great rhythm section. Sonny and Wilbur Freeman, and they stop, and he hits this one note. And I remember being a little kid. I remember being like 5 or 6 years old and thinking, I want to do that. I didn't really have any concept of what that was, because it was kind of different than the bluegrass and country guitar and stuff that I grew up with. But, I'm chasing that one B.B. King note my whole life. So
it never ends, man. You're always chasing it, just like what I do. We're always chasing to be perfection, I guess is the word to use.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, being around Tom Petty and these guys has been a real good example of that, where they keep the music first. I mean, everything you have to do with the music business and everything else in it. We have some really great people, and it's all necessary. But, I mean, just watching those guys, I mean, Tom, Steve Peroni, Mike Campbell, all those guys, they keep the music first above everything, and I think that it just keeps it pure,
So what did you learn from them, perhaps them, seeing them and watching them as a band leader, especially with your name in the band? What is that like, and how much pressure is that?
To have Steve playing with us, you mean?
No, just in generally speaking. You're watching other bands play using Tom Petty as an example. What did you learn watching them and how they record and everything else that goes on, and you running your own band with your own name in it? There has to be a lot of pressure.
Yeah. I guess at this point I don't think about any pressure or really feel any pressure at this point. It's just like I said, focus on the exchange of information between the crowd and us, and the conversation that we're having on stage. But I've definitely learned a lot from other people over the years from being around Tom Petty, seeing him so much, and being around listening to Williams for those years, and just picking up. How to be, absorb some of how they are on stage. And, I mean, obviously everybody has their own thing. I have my way of doing it, and they have theirs. But watching Tom communicate with the crowd is pretty inspiring. Of course, it's, a lot easier when there's 50,000 people there like there was last night. But if you can do that with, no matter how many people are there, then you're doing all right. But I just think focusing on music and great songs and just the songwriting and the camaraderie of everyone is a lesson to be learned from the Heartbreakers for sure.
Oh, absolutely. Now, looking at the guitar that you play, did it speak to you? I mean, you've got a Gibson, so tell me about that guitar and why you picked that guitar. That's what you play most of the time. Is that really a tough question to answer?
I grew up, when I started playing electric, I had like a really bad Strat pawn shop, $40 guitar. I eventually started playing tellies, and but that, I switched over the years to humbucker guitars, to Gibsons, and lately to James Trussard guitars. But the Gibson Les Paul that I play is actually a 52. It's one of the first ones ever made, and it was refinished in 59 by Gibson and had humbuckers put in it. And I got that at Growing Guitars in Nashville maybe 10 years ago. But for me, Les Paul style guitar does everything. It's just got enough power in it to really. I don't use many effects or anything. Just all I use is a boost into an old Fender Tweed amp. So it's got the sound that I need. If I need, when I solo and if I roll the volume back on the guitar, it's got the smooth sound that I need to for rhythm. So you can play anything on a Les Paul. I mean, country, jazz,
right.
Rock and roll, heavy metal, whatever. You can't get it done on a lot of all those done on a lot of other guitars. So I think it's definitely the sound for me. And then Dwayne Allman played once. So.
Yeah, there you go. That's all you had to say, Dwayne Allman. So, and anybody they're Googling it right now if you don't know who that is. I mean, one of the greatest guitarists ever to live. So where do you go now? You've just got Summerfest done, one of the biggest events on the planet. So where are you heading to now?
I'm about to get on the plane and go to Gainesville and see my mom and my dog.
There you go. See, that's a good way to do that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, and for about a week, and then I go back out to California. I got some sessions. I live in West Hollywood. I have some sessions, and then we're going out with our friends Blackberry Smoke for a few weeks.
Sweet.
Friends of, great band, friends, Charlie, a good friend of mine, and that's going to be really fun. We're doing some dates up and down the Northwest.
All right, fantastic.
And out in California, and we will continue on the road. I hear we have some more dates with ZZ Top coming up later on, and
nice.
This year, and we're just going to be out, working as much as possible on this on the road on this record, and it's been great. It's been an amazing year for sure.
Now, you got the new CD out with Lines. Tell me about the single that we're going to play after this. You're Not Mine. What was this about? What's the song about?
It was I was living in Decatur, Alabama. It was kind of it was about sort of watching a friend of mine go through something with his situation. Being married, and grass is greener on the other side type of thing, and it just sort of came out of that and a few other things that were going on at the time, and but it when I wrote it, it was a very slow kind of soul song, and it just didn't work like that, and then Steve Ferroni was playing some beat one day when we were in rehearsal, and it was like the Kinks meets, some kind of street, like Rolling Stones type of thing. And I started singing it on that, and it was like, hey, wait a minute. So it transformed itself into from a pretty slow, Otis Redding type of sounding soul song into, a hard rocker in a heartbeat. In a heartbeat, there you go, the Heartbreaker.
There you go. Well, Kenneth, it's always a pleasure. You can be on this show anytime. Make sure you guys get to his website, KennethBryanBand.com. You can follow him on Twitter, Facebook, wherever it is that he is. He is crisscrossing the country, great modern and southern rock. If you missed him at Summerfest, make sure you check out the tour dates. Kenneth, you are always welcome on this show, my friend.
Man, thank you for having me, and we look forward to getting back to Chicago again soon, too. My uncle used to own a club up there called the Lake and Park Inn, by the way. It's a country place.
Nice.
And it was in Palace Hills. I just wanted to say that if anybody remembers that place.
Oh, my God. Hey, when you're in town next time, we'll do a Facebook Live with you, all right?
Yeah, okay.
Kenneth, thank you so much. Here is his brand new single, You're Not Mine. You're listening to The Blend.